What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another bike race. This is Chowchilla. This is the second Chowchilla, the redemption match. You guys maybe remember this course. It's got some little technical sections up top, and same wind direction as last time, except it was a lot stronger today. It was also a lot hotter today, so that's kind of the situation out here. Strong wind, really hot, and like last time, there were 7 of us who showed up on Team Mike's bikes. Other strong teams to look out for are the Volet riders. I realized I've been saying this wrong the whole time. It's not Volair, it's Volet. The Cliff Bar guys, Ride Bikes Bro, and I'd say Team California kind of rounded out the major teams in this race. So what's our plan on Team Mike's bikes coming into a race like this? Well, we want to win the field sprint. On a flat course like this, I feel like that's probably our best shot. But our approach as a team is not to rely on just one outcome, because racing is unpredictable at times, right? So ideally, we want to put as many riders in as many race-winning positions as possible. So even though our first priority plan was to win the field sprint, we also wanted representation in the breakaway and in the chase group. So for this reason, we clearly define our roles on the team beforehand. That way, there's no confusion. And in this case, we did a great job. We had riders in both chase groups sitting in the draft getting a free ride because, most importantly, we had Chris in the lead breakaway group. And knowing that he had riders in the chase groups behind, and then even further back, sprinters like myself in the field, Chris didn't have to fully commit to the breakaway group. And this is the power of teamwork. So eventually the chase groups were brought back, and the lead up to Chris and the breakaway group had just blown out to like 2 minutes or something. So at this point, the field had essentially given up, and we were about to get lapped by the breakaway.
Oh, here comes Chris. Solo? I'll take him. Solo? Who's taking Miles? But they may not want him lapped then. No. He's here. He's here right now.
Now, in this case, all 5 breakaway riders lapped at around the same time. But this can sometimes be a really critical moment in the race, depending on how it actually plays out. Like, if Chris decided to solo bridge, for example, that would have totally changed how we rode. And that's why a couple of us dropped to the back of the group and kept good communication. But that's not what happened, and that's not what I want to focus on in this video. I want to fast forward and talk about the finishing laps, because even though we were still planning a lead out, the order is a bit different now that Chris is the protected rider. So from here to the finish, all we're focusing on is making sure none of the other breakaway riders get up the road, and keeping Chris sheltered and fresh, because we're confident in his sprint. Oh, and for those of you who don't know how this works when a breakaway laps the field, the peloton does one less lap, and we all finish together. But the only people contesting the win are those that were in the breakaway. So in this case, the top 5 positions are already locked up by the people that were in the breakaway, and what we're trying to do is get Chris, our teammate, first out of those 5 people. So how do we do that? Well, I fast-forwarded quite a bit here. We've done a good job up until this point to keep the field together, keep Chris protected. We're at a little over 2 laps to go. I just wanted to show you guys this clip as we're coming through 2 laps to go to show you the effect that wind has had on this race. It's just crazy. It bunches up through here. You can see how hard it is to move around. This is the straight headwind start-finish straight away. And this is where we need to deliver Chris with about 200 meters to go, maybe 150 meters to go. So I'm trying to get to the front, meet with my teammates right now, because we're still going to do a lead out. And if you guys missed the Sky Express Livermore criterion, my last video, you'll see a really well executed lead out, and you'll see the right way to do it. Right here, we're a little bit disjointed. It's 2.6 kilometers to go. We should really be more organized on the front. There's still Sam and I trying to catch up here, and we're going to be the key guys to deliver Chris, because we're usually the sprinters, but in this case, Chris is the sprinter, and we're going to be delivering him as the final lead-out men for Chris. So you can see, okay, now we've made it. It's cost a little bit of energy, but now we've made it up to the front. There's all 7 of us Mike's Bikes guys on the front. Now we're setting tempo. And what's the structure here? So we have Chris and Sam kind of chatting right here. How you doing? You know, what's the position like? Chris, we're going to have 2 riders, sweepers for Chris. Sam and I are going to be behind Chris. Why 2, you're wondering? We want to keep Chris as comfortable as possible. There's 7 of us. So the 3 of us at the back here, Chris, Sam, and I, in that order, aren't going to be doing any work. We're going to be saving ourselves for about a half a lap to go, but the other 4 guys on the front are all rotating turns, keeping it as fast, as smooth, and as safe as possible. And of course, as we get closer to the finish, Sam and I will no longer be sweepers. We will move in front of Chris. Speaking of which, this is why we have 2 sweepers. You have these guys contesting our wheels on the right. This is a volet rider. And this is why we wanted 2 sweepers, is because we want to make sure that Chris doesn't have to deal with these riders contesting the tail end of our lead out. He gets to sit in the draft, ride as smooth and as consistent as possible. That way, he can save all of his energy for the sprint finish. All right, mistake number 1 right here, and actually probably the biggest mistake we made in this entire race. Look at the blue wind arrow directions. It's actually a slight left to right. It's mostly a headwind, but we are leaving this inside lane wide open, and we made the same mistake at the Sky Express crit. So really, we should be stacked all the way to the right and not allowing this to happen. This is Blake Anton, buddy of mine. The volet lead out is coming up our inside, and we should not be allowing this for a couple of reasons. One, they're slightly sheltered here because of the left-right nature of the wind, and also they're taking the inside on this first corner as we come through 1 to go, and it just cuts the head right off our lead out. And it's like, look, I'm going to pause it right here. Like 200 meters ago, we had the race completely under control. We had all 7 of us lined up. We had Chris, our sprinter, protected. We make this one blunder, let the inside go, and now total chaos. There's like, I don't know, 6, maybe 8 riders have infiltrated our lead out, which is just completely fallen apart now. It seems like it's every man for himself. And we need to stitch this back up because Chris is now unprotected. We don't have control of the race anymore. You can see the last of the volet riders are organizing towards the front, and we have like 15, maybe 20 seconds to get our shit together. It's 800 meters left to go. So I'm trying to get in front of Chris and reconnect the front of our lead out with the business end of our lead out, the tail of our lead out, which includes Chris. So that's my role right here. I'm trying to make passes. It's really hard to make passes through the chicane because you're either entering or exiting a corner. Right here, I check over my left shoulder. Critical moment. I take a weird line. I let Miles get in front of me. So this is Miles in front of me. Chris is behind me, so this is the order I want. Miles has one more really fast pull left in him. Then it's me, and then it's Chris, because with 500 meters left to go, it's now or never. And you're going to hear me right about now. I'm going to start yelling at Miles.
Miles, this is it! Go, go, go!
And with less than 450 meters to go, there's just no time to waste, so Miles steps on it. Brings us up to almost 40 miles an hour into this final corner. But there's still a lot of work to be done because look at the volet train, still intact. They're leading out their breakaway rider, Brad, for the win. So I just have to sprint immediately. There's no time to look back, to make sure that Chris is on my wheel, to ease into an effort. 150 meters to go. We still have like 4 or 5 bike lengths to make up. So I am just sprinting right here, hoping that Chris is on my wheel. As we pass Brad, the final volet rider, I take one opportunity to look over my left-hand shoulder, and thankfully, there is Chris, taking the win by about, I don't know, half a bike length or so. Whoa, man, that was close. We got really lucky there. In total desperation on the last lap, we pulled it together. Super happy to lead out my bro, Chris, and to take another W. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you at the next one.
Thank you for letting me get the line now.
If I could have given you a hand sling at the end, I would.
I came back to your wheel and I was like, perfect. It just got dicey in that last
It came together at the end. I was just happy you were on because
oh man,
I was splitting lanes.
Legendary. My GoPro is just gonna be fucking Tokyo drifting through there.